40 seconds. Three, two, one.
All right, so when I look up here, I see three whole, what shape is this? Circles. All right, I see three whole circles. And again, notice the key word I said right there, whole. That is a whole circle. What they did was they partitioned it. It is broken up. And then I'm noticing how many pieces is it broken into, and they're broken into equal parts. It's broken into how many equal parts? 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And when I have a whole that is broken up into parts, the number of those parts goes at the bottom of my fraction. So I have this whole is broken up into 4 parts. And this would be the same as 4 fourths. All right? But I don't just have this one whole. I also have this whole and this whole. So all of these wholes are also broken into 4 parts. So the denominator again remains fourths. But how many fourths do I have? I have 1/4, another fourth, another fourth. All of these are 1/4. This piece is still 1/4. Each of these pieces are a fourth of that whole. So if I am trying to, again, figure out my fraction, I have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, but then here I have 5/4. I have 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, and then 12/4 as my whole. So D, 12/4 would be my answer. All right? I have a feeling if you got that wrong, a lot of you chose A, 4/3. But if I looked at 4/3, that means 3 would be my denominator, guys. So my whole would be broken up into thirds. And I would have 4 pieces shaded. Well, I only shaded 3. So that means I have to draw another whole. And again, it's only broken up into 3 parts according to my denominator. So now here I have shaded 4 pieces. Is that the 3 holes that I had there? It's not. So that doesn't look like it. The only answer choice that makes sense is 12/4. Again, I could also see us maybe saying 4/12 because you see 12 total pieces and one of them is broken into fourths. But 4/12, number one, I'm not going to pretend to draw because remember in 3rd grade I have told you guys that we only work with halves, fourths, eighths, sixths, and thirds. Those are the only fractions you're going to work with and see as a denominator outside of 1 in 3rd grade. So 12ths, that should have been an automatic no. 12ths, that should have been an automatic no. All right, guys, so we just finished our warm-up. As I said before, we've learned this week about how to measure using length. We've learned about how to measure capacity, which is how much liquid or volume is in an object. And then today we're going to measure or estimate the weight in ounces and pounds. So we're estimating and measuring weight, how heavy something is. All right, so the difference in capacity and weight, capacity is how much is in an object, how much volume, how much liquid is in an object, or how much you can fill in an object. And weight is just how heavy something is.
Like Miss Allen.
All right, so what would you think weighs 1 pound? Very light. So 1 pound would be very light. What do you think might weigh 1 pound? So take a moment to think about it. In your head. You got something?
Yes.
Yeah.
A pound, the bag of rice is a pound that you buy from the grocery store.
So a bag of rice will weigh 1 pound. Good idea, Miss Allen.
No.
All right. So like we just said, weight is the measure of how heavy an object is. And remember, you have your packets at home that you're following along with. All right. Weight is the measure of how heavy an object is. So a slice of bread, guys, is 1 ounce. Do you think a slice of bread, if I went and got a slice of bread, not the whole bread packet, if I went and got 1 piece of bread out of my bread bag at home, do you think it's going to be really heavy? I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to struggle to carry it, all right? So 1 ounce is very small. It's not heavy at all. Something that's about a pound, guys, is a football, all right? Think about a football. It's probably a little bit heavier than that slice of bread. Is it super heavy? No, but 1 pound is heavier than 1 ounce, all right? So if I think about bigger and smaller, 1 pound and 1 ounce. All right? So ounces versus pounds. An ounce is a small unit of measurement. Example, a slice of bread, a banana, pretty light, a potato, a pepper.
A pound is used to measure heavier objects. Like you will see Miss Allen's name on here. Like a loaf of bread, a bunch of bananas, a football, and a shoe.
So notice she said a loaf of bread, not just the 1 slice, but now the big bag of bread, the big loaf. Not just 1 banana, but a bunch of bananas. All right? Also, I see these things up here. OZ for ounces, and LB is the abbreviation for pounds. Remember when we were talking about length and we talked about FT? What did that mean? Foot.
Foot or feet.
Or feet.
Yeah.
We talked about YD, and what did that mean?
Yard or yards.
We talked about M, and that meant
Meter.
We talked about MM, and that meant
Millimeter.
Then we talked about CM, and that meant
Centimeter.
Well, now we are talking about OZ, which will stand for ounces.
And LB, which stands for pounds.
I also noticed on this slide that it tells me there are 16 ounces to make 1 pound. So I need about 16 pieces of bread to make that full pound, which is probably how many pieces of bread are in that loaf. I don't
I'm going to check that out when I go to the grocery store.
Real quick, guys, before we go on to the next thing, we watched the other day our Brain Pop Junior for cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. Let's go ahead and see what Annie and Moby have to say about pounds and ounces.
Ounce.
Ooh.
It's a big elephant.
Let's see. This weighs about... Hey! I was trying to weigh that apple. What is weight? Weight describes how heavy something is. Some things are heavy and weigh a lot, while other things are lighter and weigh less.
Look at little Chihuahua.
You can use a balance to compare the weights of different objects. The side with the stapler moves down. That means the stapler is heavier than the eraser. Right, Moby. The stapler is bigger than the eraser. But just because something is bigger, it doesn't mean it has to be heavier. Which ball is heavier? The beach ball is bigger than the baseball, but it's lighter. What are ounces? An ounce is a small unit of measurement. A slice of bread weighs about 1 ounce. A scale is a tool that measures weight. Let's see. That pear weighs 10 ounces. We use the abbreviation OZ to stand for ounces. You can use ounces to measure light things like a banana, a potato, or a pepper. What are pounds? You can use pounds to measure heavier objects. A loaf of bread weighs about a pound. The broccoli weighs 1 pound. We use the abbreviation LB to stand for pound. 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. That means your broccoli weighs 16 ounces. Let's see. This pineapple weighs 5 pounds. We use the abbreviation LBS to stand for pounds when it's plural. You can use pounds to measure heavier things, like cauliflower, eggplant, or carrots. That pumpkin weighs 8 pounds and 1, 2, 3, 4 ounces. You can count the tick marks to count the ounces. The world's largest pumpkin is over 1,000 pounds. What are tons?
All right, guys. So, thinking about ounces and pounds. Tons are something that we do not have to get into right now in 3rd grade. So we aren't. But tons would be something you would use to measure an item that is much heavier. All right, like that elephant you saw in the beginning of the video. All right, but just thinking about pounds and ounces back.
This is in your packet.
Yep,
right
back
there.
to your packet, looking along with us. You can do it also. We are going to estimate the weight of this bird. And remember, we talked about estimate, meaning we're not just guessing, we're using things we know to figure out the weight. So here's our bird. Do we think it is 1 cup, 1 inch, 1 pound, or 1 ounce? And I know that we can use some reasonability so we can think through which answers automatically wouldn't make sense. Can anyone think of one that does not make sense? Miss Allen.
A cup.
Why does cup not make sense?
Because you use a cup to measure liquid.
I use a cup to measure liquid, so I would be measuring capacity. So I'm taking out 1 cup. Can I think of anything else that doesn't make sense to measure the weight of this bird? Yes, Miss Allen.
1 inch.
1 inch. Because 1 inch is about the length of her thumb. All right? 1 inch is measuring length. And again, I want to measure weight. So I'm trying to decide, do I think that this bird is maybe the size of, the weight of a piece of bread, a slice of bread, or do I think it's closer to the weight of a football? If I'm thinking about it, I think the bird's gonna be a little bit heavier than a slice of bread, and I would say 1 pound is the best estimate for the weight of the bird. All right? Now thinking about the feather that is on the bird. How much does that weigh? Again, reasonableness of answers. Does 6 pounds, 6 ounces, 6 feet, or 6 gallons, do all of those answer choices make sense when I'm trying to measure weight? I think I can eliminate some of them. I think I'm going to eliminate feet. Because I know that feet measures how long something is, the length of something. There's something else that I think doesn't go here.
Gallons.
No way, this is almost too
And
heavy
6
for
of
me.
them. That'll be too heavy.
And gallons
Measures the
measure
capacity.
capacity, not weight. All right, it's how much fits into that jug. All right, so 6 pounds or 6 ounces for that feather. So imagine holding the feather in your hand. All right, I don't think that feather is going to be heavier than a football. I think it's going to be lighter than that. So I think I'm going to measure this with ounces. So I hope that you came up with the answer of 6 ounces at home. Gotcha. Ah! Got you. Do it. Miss Allen.
Tripping over,
Yeah,
tripping over
next
cords.
Too? Yes. Go ahead, Miss Allen.
So we're on the next one. This baseball. The estimate weight of this baseball. No. Which measurement would make no sense measuring a baseball? Well, it's the, do like Miss Flint does. It is the weight. So which measurement or which unit would I measure weight? Which one do you think does not make sense, Miss Flint?
5 inches, because 5 inches are on my ruler, and I'm not measuring how heavy something is if I'm using my ruler.
You are so right. You are such a smarty. Kiss your brain. So we're going to eliminate 5 inches. Can I get another volunteer to tell me which one doesn't make sense? All right, Miss Allen.
Pints. If I had 5 of these, this is what I would use to eat ice cream. There's no way I would measure a baseball with a pint, or much less 5 pints.
Kiss your brain right now. Oh, a big one. So I'm going to eliminate 5 pints. So I'm left with 5 pounds. Remember, 5 loaves of bread, or 5 ounces, 5 slices of bread. Which one do you think will work? Okay, it is going to be 5 ounces. If you selected that, you give yourself a big old smoochy kiss on the brain because you're so smart. Yes, you are. All right, here we go with this estimate the weight of this rooster. Now, this is not a chicken. This is a male chicken, okay? So a rooster. So we're doing that. Miss Flint?
Weight. I know the weight, how heavy something is.
So which one of these, because we should be on a roll now, which one of these would not make any sense?
You do it at home.
3 quarts does not make sense.
You're right.
That is measuring capacity. 3 feet also does not make sense. That is measuring length.
Great job, invisible one, Miss Austin. So we're stuck with B or C, right? So is it going to be 3 slices, or is it going to be 3 pounds or 3 bags of bread? And you're right, it is going to be 3 pounds.
Good job at home. And as Miss Allen says, kiss your...
Give it a double kiss, baby Corona. Right here. This is a fair kiss. All right, here we go.
Next slide. All right, so guys, which item in the classroom, even though we are not in our classroom at the moment, might we weigh in pounds? Would I use a pencil? Miss Allen, I don't know where your pencils are. But here's one. Would I use that pencil and put it and weigh it with pounds? Would I talk about how many pounds that pencil is? Would I weigh a desk and talk about how many pounds the desk is? Would I use a, would I weigh, oh, my words. Would I weigh a paper clip and talk about how many pounds it is? Or a piece of paper and talk about how many pounds the paper is? Thinking about pounds being the heavier unit of measurement than ounces. I think that the heavier one was a desk.
Yay! You would measure a desk in pounds. The other ones you would measure in ounces.
Good job, guys.
We are skipping this question because you guys are doing such an awesome job. So go ahead and skip this question in your packet. You can put an X through it. I know my students love to put a good X through their work. And we are moving on to this question that Miss Flint is going to explain to you.
All right. So which of the following has a mass or weight of about 65 pounds? The reason that weight is written right here is because these words mean the same thing, guys. So when we think about when we're learning and reading, sometimes you'll find things in parentheses or in commas next
Using
to
your context
a word.
clues.
Yeah, you use your context clues to figure out that they said mass, and just in case you didn't know what that word meant, they gave it to you right there. So which of the following has a weight of about 65 pounds? And I look right here. What is in this picture?
A gorilla.
A gorilla. Where do I find gorillas at?
At the zoo.
At the zoo. So I think about those big gorillas at the zoo, all right? What is an answer choice? What is an answer choice B?
A book.
A book. All right. Ooh, 65 pounds. All right, I'm thinking about these. That's a big book if we're thinking about things that weigh a few pounds.
I think a book is about 1 pound.
I would agree too. 1 pound. Okay. C. What is in C?
A girl singing.
Oh, this is a little girl. A little girl.
That looks like, shout out to Ashley.
Ashley,
Shout
that
out
was
to
my
Ashley.
And then in D, we have
A little bird.
Bird.
It's a cardinal to be exact.
A cardinal. It's the state bird, North Carolina state that you live in. All right. So, which of the following has a mass of about 65 pounds? We've already said that a book, it's probably not 65 pounds. All right. It's about 1 pound. 65 pounds would be a lot. All right. So, is a bird going to be 65 pounds?
No.
No. So now we're between a gorilla, or a little girl. All right. So which of these will be about 65 pounds? Guys, a little girl is going to be about 65 pounds. A gorilla is
a
going
big animal.
It's a very big animal. So if you haven't seen one before, maybe you can use your Chromebooks right now and look up a gorilla from a zoo. All right, because there's lots of zoos right now that also have free field trips that you can get virtual learning experiences that you can go on and see the different animals. So maybe when you're done with your math lesson today, you can go ahead and go check out some zoos and find some gorillas. And they're really large. And you at home weigh probably around the size of around the weight of 65 pounds.
All right, so in your packet, you have a sheet that looks like this. And if for some reason you don't have your packet, here it is. And you can pause the video right here so that you can complete the packet. And this is a practice that you are going to complete at home on this packet about weight. Now, if you go to Google Classroom, you are submitting these answers. Miss Flint is going there now. You go over to classwork, just like you did yesterday, and you go to where it says 320 math practice is estimating weight.
And remembering, you're seeing a lot of things right now, but on your classwork at the time, there will not be as many things in there.
Yes, and I have zoomed in, so you're just looking at that practice. So then once you click the link that Miss Flint just did, it gives you exactly what it says on this sheet. So it says a dresser, and it gives you the answer choices, and you plug in the answer choices on this Google form. Once you press submit down at the bottom, it will send an email to your teacher telling us that you completed this assignment. We'll be able to see not only how you did, but that you are completing these assignments at home, because we are still learning while we are at home.
And it's not just sending it to your teacher, it's sending it to all of us. So you want to make us look good, right? Like you're really listening to what we're saying and working so hard. So make sure that you're doing your best and not just playing around when we're doing our lessons, just like you would if you were in class.